let's deal with creating a class in Python. Now, I may have said, hey, that was the last video. We've got more to go. So we're going to keep adding to it. So they've given us two files here. Okay, this one's my rectangle class program.py, and this one's rectangle.py. So we have two different files, and this file will use this other file, and it's something that we've done before. We used it with the date time. So there was a date time class that we used it. We imported that date time class, and we could use the functionality associated with it. So we're going to, from the rectangle class, we're going to import everything that's in rectangle. We're going to import rectangle. So that's going to be the initializer. It's going to initialize that class. So let's come over here and look at what's taking place in here. So here's class rectangle. Okay, and here's the initializer. And here are two functions that will exist in it. Okay, so what we're going to do in here, we're going to create this initialization. We're going to say self.length equals length. Self.width equals width. So we're declaring those two values up front. Whenever anybody initializes or says, let's import that class, these things will receive these initial values. Okay, now let's come down here and look and see what we've got going on. We've got to calculate the area of a rectangle. Well, that calculation is pretty easy. And if we call this calculate area function, then we want it to return the area. So let's say return, and it's going to return self.width times self.length. That's an area, width times the length. Let's come down here and we'll look at the perimeter. For perimeter is self.width. Hang on, let me back up. Let's get a little more efficient. I'll just reuse that. I'll say 2 times self.width plus 2 times self.length. And spaces don't matter in what we've got going on here. So we'll go ahead and run this. And it thinks I'm wanting to run this class. So we've got to put focus on the one we're actually going to run. And this is the code we're going to run, which will do the import. It has two variables set, and then it will pass those values to the calculation functions. Let's go ahead and test it and see what it does. And it says we're good. Let me run it and see. The perimeter of rectangle 1 is 30. Perimeter of rectangle 2 is 20. Area of rectangle 1 is 50, and then to 21. So it took what was here. It passed it to the rectangle initializer. Let's back up. So I imported this class. I said I'm going to use this. And the constructor receives 2 arguments. Now, here we go. Length and width. Length and width got passed to it. And then we said self.length equals length, self.width equals width. Now, we can refer to self.length and self.width at any point now, and we use them in the other functions, and everything worked out for us. So we call the other functions, and boom, 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 there they go. They use those values. Okay?